You know, the early 1980s of the NHL was a strange place. It had expanded, included WHA teams that were known as much for scoring as for fighting. You still had the New York Rangers, Boston, the Flyers in the mix, the Islanders, rugged squads. Some of the new franchises that came in and some of the, what he called newer teams, were relying on enforcers and goons to make a mark for their squad. Now, this guy got caught up in the mix. He was a talented QMJHL player, but as soon as he arrived in the NHL, he was asked to do primarily one thing, and that was either fight or protect, as we say. Now, I don't think Jimmy Mann was a bad player, but he was a player that got caught up in this whole situation that the Jets were trying to prove himself, and unfortunately, he was called upon to do most of the proving. Now, Mann was the top 20 prospect entering the 1979 NHL entry draft. The Jets took him 19 overall as their first NHL picks of the, what he called the merge era. Now, born in Montreal, 6 feet 205, last played for Sherbrooke of the QMJHL. Now, the right winger had 82 points in 65 games, was a QMJHL All-Star, first team actually in 79. And, drew a lot of interest for his, what he called flowing style of play. But as soon as he arrived in the NHL, the 4 years he played in the Q was pretty well out the window. Although he had a lot of penalty minutes, he would always produce. I give an example. His last season in the Q, he had 343 minutes in penalties, despite 108 points overall. Now, he first came to major prominence as a youth at the Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament with a minor hockey team from the great suburb of Verdun. Now, first year with the Jets, again, the first pick in franchise history, he made a reputation for himself as a brawler, collecting 287 minutes in penalties during his first NHL season. Now, Mann was all kind of trouble in the league early on. He was suspended 3 games and fined $500 for shoving a linesman, Gord Bossiger, while trying to resume a fight with defenseman John Gibson in a game against the Maple Leafs on December 9th, 81. Now, during a game against the Penguins on January 13, 1982, Penguins center Paul Gardner cross-checked Jets winger Doug Smale in the face, resulting in an injury. Before the next face-off, Mann attacked Gardner from behind with 2 punches that broke Gardner's jaw. Mann eventually received a 10-game suspension and a criminal record with a $500 fine before the courts of Manitoba. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth very soon, but let's recap a little bit, ladies and gentlemen, of what he did coming in the league. Now, he led the league in penalty minutes in 1980 with 287, wearing number 8 for Winnipeg, number 10 for Quebec, and number 18 for Pittsburgh later on. Now, he signed a pro contract with Winnipeg in August of 79. His first NHL game was also the first in Winnipeg's NHL history. Now, he set Winnipeg's single-season record for penalty minutes in 1980, and the suspension in 79-80 included 2 games by the NHL for receiving 4 game misconducts during the season, which was served in March 1980. Now, he was often injured. He missed part of the 83 season with a stretched knee ligaments, an injury suffered in December 82. He also missed part of the 86 season with the flu, contracted in November 1985. He also missed parts of the 88 season with elbow injury, which required surgery in October 87, and with a pulled groin, an injury suffered in March of 88. Now, again, that brawl involving Gardner was a 10-game suspension because Pittsburgh coach Eddie Johnson had concrete evidence that Mann had been ordered into the brawl by Winnipeg coach Tom Watt. The violence again was so severe that the province of Manitoba charged Mann with assault and convicted him, although he was given a suspended sentence. Now, I don't know how it worked if his criminal record stopped him from traveling the States for games. I'll have to check into that, but it seemed he quieted down somewhat right after. Now, he also was a force in minor leagues. He played with Tulsa of CHL, Sherbrooke of the AHL, Frankton of the AHL, Muskegon of the IHL, and Indianapolis of the IHL. Now, he also played on the IHL regular season champion Muskegon in 88. Now, He missed part of the 85 season, an entire 87 season, with complications from an abdominal injury, which was suffered in a incident in Frankton in December of 1984. There was some question if he ruptured himself, but the injury was quite severe. Now, during his playing days, he did a lot of work for charity, including the Manitoba Special Olympics, and he also became involved in Old Tama's charity hockey after retirement. Now, he also joined the All-Star Charity Baseball Tour after his retirement, so he was always giving back. Now, his wife, who was also a travel agent, booked tours for both the hockey and baseball teams. Now, he was also an avid outdoorsman. He was a bow hunter who took up the sport during his junior playing days and continued it throughout his career and after retirement. Now, it was kind of ironic. He showed up in Quebec, but he wasn't really a big factor in the Battle of Quebec against Montreal. I don't really remember him being too aligned there. It was usually Dale Hunter was causing most of the shit. He was traded for a draft pick by the Jets in '84 to the Nordiques, and of course that's how he ended up with the injury in Frankton. '84 to the Nordiques, he played in the playoffs, 22 games, a goal and assist for 2 points. '85, he played 25 games in Quebec, but returned in time to play for the Nordiques in their win over Montreal and their Stanley Cup semifinal run. '86, another rough season with Quebec, only 35 games with 2 playoff contests. Eventually signed as a free agent by Pittsburgh and wrapped up his minor league career with the Indianapolis Ice of the IHL. Well, it was kind of ironic, ladies and gentlemen. He lost his scoring touch his last number of seasons in the NHL. Like between 1983 and 1988, he literally only scored 1 goal, despite playing, I think it was well over 100 games. So he wasn't really an enforcer at this time, but he wasn't really a producer. So basically, he was there to, a fourth-line player that could be counted upon at times, if need be, in rough situations. But the games with Quebec, like I said, he only played 82 games in Quebec and only scoring 1 goal. But in '86, he was called upon to do a little more goon work, 148 minutes and penalties in 35 games. But again, wasn't a big factor in the Battle of Quebec because in those series in '84 and '85, like I said, wasn't a big factor. So again, Jimmy is basically a cautionary tale, not really a goon, not really an enforcer, not really a tough man, but going from 82 points in the queue to basically ineffective on the score sheet within 5 or 6 years really made no sense. He had talent there, he could skate, but I think it really scared him what happened in the early part of his career, and he was kind of I don't know what you would say. If you play 40 games for Winnipeg, only 73 minutes and penalties, you got only 1 assist. The numbers speak for themselves. And of course, the next season he only had 3 points in 38 combined games. So, anyway, but that criminal record is still a shock he got charged because we've seen worse, ladies and gentlemen, more worse. Maybe because Gardner was a quiet player, we don't know. So that's the story of Jimmy Mann. Thanks for listening. If you like what you're doing, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And requests and comments are always appreciated. Have a good day. Bye.